you need to stop everything you're doing and buy these players right now before week 1. I'm bringing you players that are going after round 4. Just, it's easier. I can tell you to, go trade for Jalen Waddle, go trade for Tyreek Hill, go trade for Travis Kelsey. No doubt, you're gonna have to pay a premium. Maybe you can get these guys in rounds 5 or later that can help your team now or even in the future. I think this is a good opportunity for you to do so. So let's not waste any more time. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and comment down below which players you're trying to acquire before the season starts. Some honorable mentions: DJ Moore. I love right now James Cook, Jahan Dotson and George Pickens. These are these 4 guys that I really want to try and get on my teams before I truly believe they have a phenomenal season. DJ Moore with Justin Fields, James Cook over there going to get a lot of the work in the air. In Buffalo, Jahan Dotson, obviously with Terry being potentially out, maybe week 1 or 2, and George Pickens. We have seen and heard all the hype of George Pickens and Kenny Pickett coming into this year. So those are some quick honorable mentions. So my first player, let's go to the Pittsburgh Steelers at the running back position. Jalen Warren. He has been rising up my rankings. I'm currently on Underdog RB 34, Sleeper 48, ESPN 45. My rankings. He's running back. 37. Okay, and he's been rising up my rankings. I've been trying to get him in the later rounds as much as possible. I got him in the 14th round, our latest real draft with our community, and a couple other people got him in the 15th round, even 13th round. But something that I really want to bring to your guys' attention is the opportunity that Jalen Warren is going to be stepping in. And look, yeah, maybe this is skewed by preseason because we've seen, in week 2, that 60-yard run for a touchdown from Jalen Warren. You saw the goal line work when they got into the red zone in week 3 in the preseason against Atlanta Falcons, where Najee Harris was, driving this ball all the way down the field, got some passing opportunities. Jalen Warren comes in and punches it in. There could be a lot of opportunity for Jalen Warren coming into this season. I mean, we saw last year how he was in the second half of the season, how he was starting to get a lot of work. And a lot of people saying, well, Najee was injured. Najee, he was dealing with that toe injury or that foot injury. Maybe that was the case. But, when you come into this year in preseason where Kenny Pickett in the first offense played every first drive in all 3 preseason games, and Jalen Warren was a significant part of that, I don't think we can overlook that. Look, I understand Najee is the guy. He, Matt Canada came out saying Najee is our RB1, which I completely understand. But doesn't mean that Jalen Warren still can't have value, still won't bring value to your team. Maybe he'll be a good flex option. Maybe he'll be a good option when somebody is on a bye week later on down the road. If you can get him at a cheap price right now, if possible. 29 missed tackles according to PFF in 2022. He played 55% of the third downs last year, and Najee, we all know Najee is a third down guy, okay? Najee is a first, second, third down guy. That's why he was so highly drafted in his rookie year, because he is a guy that can run in between the tackles, the first and second down, and then catch the ball in long yardage situation and be the goal line guy. I think they don't want, in my personal opinion, I don't believe the Steelers going to overwork Najee coming into this year. They know what they have in Jalen Warren. Another year with Jalen Warren coming into this season under his belt, understanding this offense is going to make things a lot easier in this, in this year. So look, I'm not anti Najee Harris. I'm saying if you can, let's say you got a Travis Etienne and a Dameon Pierce on your team as your first running backs, and you just went straight running backs in the middle of the rounds, tight ends, and you got your quarterback, and you see Jalen Warren there. I'm going to pick him up. I am going to try and acquire him as much as possible. And look, and here are some players that you can easily go out and trade for when you think of Jalen Warren in the area that he was going at the time. So here are some players here that I would highly consider when I think of Jalen Warren. A Devin A-Chain, I personally would rather have Jalen Warren. I mean, that may be controversial. Samaje P. Ryan going, Elijah Mitchell, Ezekiel Elliott. If I can pivot off of all those guys to get someone like a Jalen Warren, I think that could be really special coming into the 2023 season. So you don't have to pay a premium right now. I don't think anyone's really thinking about it. People are thinking of Jalen Warren maybe as the backup, or even, somebody that could get a lot of opportunities. Think of Jalen Warren as an Austin Eckler, maybe even Tony Pollard type of situation. He's got his his legs underneath him. He's understanding this offense, and now going to their second year behind the RB1 first round draft pick. They're going to start utilizing Jalen Warren to see what he can do and how he can help this offense as much as possible. So at this very moment, I think his price is low. And I think as we get closer in middle into the season, we can potentially start seeing that rise in him, potentially seeing easily 40% of the workload, maybe even creeping into that 50% of the workload by week 6. So I will go out and try and get Jalen Warren. Okay, my second must-buy player before week 1 is another running back. Let's go to New Orleans Saints, and that is Alvin Kamara. Look, I've been on the boat saying that you guys should be buying and drafting Alvin Kamara all off season. I was on the boat that he was going to be suspended for less than 4 games. He got 3 games because 4 games really changes, in my opinion, so much more work and opportunity and how his return could have been. But according to all the platforms, he still has a decent price, in my opinion. Underdog ADP RB 27, Sleeper 23, ESPN 19, my rankings 23, RB 23. So when you really think of Alvin Kamara and understand what he has done in the past, and I think that is what's truly significant. Yes, he's an older running back, but he's on a team that really needs him and knows that they're going to have to utilize him in the best way possible. He is the best pass catching back on this team. And when you really think of how he has finished in the past, he has always in his career finished as a top 5 in targets amongst running backs. There was only 1 year he finished outside the top 15, and that was this past year in 2022. Okay, every single year, even since 2017, RB3, 18, RB4, 2019, RB12. That was one of his down years, obviously. 2020, RB1, 2021, RB8. What's crazy when you really think about it, I know we can't really compare because every situation is different. When you look back in 2001 and you look at that season where he missed 4 games, he still returned an RB8 finish. That's how much workload and an opportunity that Alvin Kamara was getting specifically in the air. Got 67 targets in the air, caught 47 receptions out of 67 targets in the air in 2021. Look, I understand getting Alvin Kamara might be a little bit risky, but what is the price that you can pay for Alvin Kamara currently right now to acquire him? Maybe you have another running back that you don't believe in, that maybe there's some sort of injuries, or maybe there's a wide receiver out there that you're saying, I'm just not necessarily sure if I believe in them. Okay, I think of places where Alvin Kamara is going. I think of someone like Chris Godwin I would rather pivot off, which sounds crazy in some people's eyes. I think of Alvin Kamara, and I also think of trying to get off of Hollywood Brown, who is not going to have their starting quarterback for the first 4 weeks or maybe even longer in the whole season. Okay, I think of Michael Pittman. Can I pivot? Can I get more? Can I send away Michael Pittman, get Alvin Kamara a little bit more because how people are viewing Anthony Richardson coming into the season? Alvin Kamara has always been a top running back in this league. He's only finished outside the top 15 twice. And I told you that already. That was this past year. And in 2019, he has always finished in the top 10 of running backs. And the fact that he has already missed 4 games in 1 year and still return a top 10 ADP. Once again, every situation is different. Can he do that again this year? Now, the biggest caveat there is that now you have Jamal Williams and Kendre Miller. Kendre Miller, yes, look, he had glimpses in the preseason for sure, but he also had glimpses that he might not be ready in for the first 3 weeks for this season. Okay, now if Kendre Miller, doesn't perform the way we all thought, and Jamal Williams is going to be maybe the goal line guy, not even the pass catching guy, just the goal line guy specifically, I think we can see a good opportunity for Alvin Kamara can come in here and still return a top 15 ADP. Where he's going right now, once again, RB27 on Underdog, RB23 Sleeper, ESPN 19, my rankings RB23. I think he can easily return that coming into the 2023 season, even missing 3 games. So if I were you, I'll be trying to acquire Alvin Kamara either before week 1 or maybe at latest in the beginning of week 2. After that, I don't think anyone is going to want to sell Alvin Kamara. So try to get him on your team as soon as possible. Before I get into my third player, guys, please go to flockfantasy.com/land, the best place to support what Zach and I are doing here. Rankings, articles, bonus content, and so much more. You want in-season ranking, in-season articles, in-season information that only you can get on the Flock Fantasy website from Zach, myself, and all the content creators. Use our promo code LAND and get 30% off at sign up when you go to the Flock Fantasy website. So once again, flockfantasy.com/land, the best place to support what Zach and I are doing here and get 30% off at sign up. And let's get straight into my third player, going to the quarterback position. This one's specifically for Superflex, but maybe you are in the one quarterback league and you don't love the quarterback that you have. Maybe you did a really, really late quarterback strategy. Maybe look, I know in our leagues a little bit different. We like to avoid drafting 2 quarterbacks in a 1 quarterback league because we know a lot of people account for bye weeks. So if let's say you are in the home league and everyone got 2 quarterbacks and the quarterbacks aren't there for you anymore, if there is a way you can acquire someone like a Daniel Jones, I think that is something phenomenal that you can get right now, whether it's a 1 quarterback or a super flex league. Currently on Underdog, QB 13, Sleeper QB 14, ESPN QB 16. He is my QB 11. Now, one of the things I really want to hit here is that Daniel Jones is going into a whole nother year, and one of the first times going into the same offense with the same offensive coordinator, the same head coach, with better weapons. Let's start from the bottom to the top. They start with the offensive line. They draft John Michael Schmidt. They have John Michael Schmidt. You have Andrew Thomas, Evan Neal, and the O-line gets significantly better coming into the 2023 season. Now let's go to the next level with the playmakers. Saquon Barkley is back. You add Darren Waller. You add Paris Campbell. Wan'Dale Robinson is coming back. Isaiah Hodgins is here for another year. Sterling Shepard is off IR. This is the best weapons, literally the best weapons Daniel Jones has had in his career. Now, when you look at what Daniel Jones did this past year, finished as a top 10 quarterback 9, only threw for 3,200 yards, and that was with, Darius Slayton being his number 1 target, with Richie James being a second target, with them bringing up Davis Sills, Colin Johnson off the practice squad days before they went into games, and they still won those games. Not only that, Daniel Jones also rushed for over 700 yards on the ground. Not saying that he can do this again, but I think, if he can get 500, 600, even 400 yards, but have a little bump up in the passing yardage, maybe he can hit the 4,000 mark, we can see him easily return go back into that top 10 quarterback finish. Okay, that is number 1. Those are all my points for Daniel Jones. And something else that I really want to hit on here, and I know it's hard to compare, but when you look at the bumps that we've seen from Brian Daboll when he was with the Buffalo Bills, when Josh Allen was there, and the years he progressed. So let's look at Josh Allen, what he did. Once again, really hard to compare. But in 2018, he finished QB 21. Daniel Jones, before Brian Daboll came to the Buffalo Bills, or to the New York Giants, in 2021, he finished QB 27. Okay, now you think of the year after with Josh Allen, where he takes that second step in his year 2 in 2019, where he finished QB 6, still without Stephon Diggs. Okay, Daniel Jones this past year without his wide receiver 1 or tight end 1, Daniel Jones QB 9. I would say that's a pretty eerily similar finish and progression that we have seen with Josh Allen and Daniel Jones. Not comparing the two, just comparing how they have progressed with Brian Daboll. Right now, you go to 2021, when now they acquire Stephon Diggs in the offseason for the Buffalo Bills, right? And now going into 2023 season for the New York Giants, they acquired Darren Waller. I am not saying Daniel Jones is going to finish as a QB1. I am saying if we are looking at the progressions and how Brian Daboll has progressed his quarterbacks year in and year out, has made his offense better year in and year out, I think we need to take that into consideration just a little bit. And Daniel Jones right now being completely undervalued. I mean, I have him QB 11. I truly want to move him higher, but I can't justify moving him over Deshaun Watson, who has finished as a top 5 quarterback. There is one quarterback I did move him higher above, and that is Tua Tagovailoa. So you guys know I've been raving about all off season. So once again, Daniel Jones, if he can have that same Josh Allen-esque with the offensive coordinator, head coach, with the weapons around him, and take another leap going into 2023, I think this could be a phenomenal pick. I got him in so many leagues. I had him obviously in a bunch of dynasty leagues, but if you can go out and acquire him, so many people would rather have Geno Smith, who finished QB5, Kirk Cousins, who has a Justin Jefferson, a Jordan Addison. Sometimes people would rather have Tua, which is fine. I mean, I used to be one of those people. I mean, if you can trade any of those guys, maybe somebody drafted Aaron Rodgers before Daniel Jones because they love what Aaron Rodgers is doing this year. Maybe somebody drafted Matthew Stafford. Maybe you drafted Matthew Stafford saying, I need to get a better quarterback. Where can I go? Daniel Jones is the right player going into the 2023 season. Okay, last but not least, the last player that you should be buying before week 1 that I think could be a really good value right now, and that is Terry McLaurin. I'll keep this one short. Look, we all know that Terry is injured right now. I think you can take a good advantage of players, of fantasy league members right now to try and acquire Terry. Maybe Terry fell into the later rounds. Now he's going in the 6th. Sometimes he slipped into the 7th round because we don't know his status coming into week 1. He may miss the first week or second week coming into the season. And if he's going as wide receiver 26 on Underdog, 22 on Sleeper, 27 on ESPN, and my rankings are wide receiver 25, I believe you can easily get a good return on Terry. We've seen Terry finish as a top 15 wide receiver this past year, 2022, with the likes of Carson Wentz, with the likes of Sam Howell. I think that can easily, Taylor Heineke and Sam Howell, that can easily change coming into this year. Look, Sam Howell has looked significantly better than Taylor Heineke. We've seen preseason. We saw them, yes. One of the downfalls right now is a lot of people are hyping it. Even myself, we have seen the switch. It kind of feels like of Jahan Dotson taking over that wide receiver 1 role with Terry McLaurin. We have projected it. We've spoken about it, saying Jahan Dotson can easily out target and out finish Terry McLaurin. Doesn't mean Terry is irrelevant. Terry has been, once again, a top producing wide receiver in the past. I mean, he's out his 5 years on this team, or 4 years on this team, going into his 5th year now. He is averaging 13.7 fantasy points per game in the last 4 years. That is a good wide receiver, good wide receiver 3, good even wide receiver 2, depending on the year option. Okay, not saying Terry is going to be irrelevant, or not saying Jahan Dotson is going to, take all the targets away. But I think the targets are going to be a little bit limited coming in for Terry. We saw it in preseason, and take it with a grain of salt. But I mean the week 2 against the Baltimore Ravens, where the whole first team, including Terry, played the whole first and second quarter, and Jahan Dotson out targeted Terry and got more yards. And Terry, mind you, I know he got injured that game, but if you go look and watch that game, Terry got injured with 1 minute and 50 seconds left before the half. That's not pretty significant, and we all know how much time they had to play with Jahan Dotson, Sam Howell, and Terry McLaurin. So once again, this is just a player that I truly believe can get on the low right now, that if you want to kind of pivot from a different player, I definitely would. Once again, Chris Godwin, I'm happy to pivot to. I think of someone like a Michael Pittman that I can pivot off of as well. Same thing, eerily similar with some of these players. What about a Mike Williams? I'd rather have, right now, personally, a Terry McLaurin over Mike Williams, and I think that's where we kind of got, where we've seen the dip. We've seen Mike go right after Terry, literally picks before Terry McLaurin. So, guys, those are my 4 players: Terry, Daniel Jones, Alvin Kamara, and Jaylen Warren. All 4 guys that you should be trying to buy before week 1. These guys, in my opinion, can easily help you win leagues. Whether it's a flex option, whether it's now week 1, whether it's the middle of the season or in the second half of the season, somehow, some way, these guys are going to return value coming into the 2023 season. So like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think down below. And as always, it's all love.
Now that those idiots are done talking, who needs some rankings?
Hell yeah, I need some rankings.
Then use promo code LAND, LAND, for 30% off any membership at flockfantasy.com.
Oh.
It's so easy, even your grandma could scan that QR code right there.